what it like? There was BitConnect, obviously, is quite a few years ago. Luna, FTX, Three Arrows. What's that of this cycle?
Have you ever seen anything crazy at any of these conferences?
There's always a lot of people in weird costumes. Sometimes you see some nudists. They had a sign around their penis or whatever.
How big was the sign?
I'm probably a good-looking fat man.
He's so obsessed with Luna. Like we haven't been talking about Luna for 5 minutes, and he's still talking about it.
Do Kwon's a genius. Welcome to the Beefy Pod, the official podcast of Beefy, the multi-chain yield optimizer located on 20 plus blockchains, bringing you some of the best yield in all of DeFi. I'm your host, Jorge, and I'm here with Weso, our lead developer, brainiac, genius extraordinaire, TBC, comic relief, and Johnny Test stunt double, as well as Tenz from Silo. And we are really excited to talk about Silo, a partner of Beefy, bringing some unique takes on lending and borrowing by offering unique individual silos for all of their lending assets. Tenz is going to tell us more about Silo, what's going on, and so much more. Tenz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jorge. How are you doing? Great to see all of you guys after seeing you for briefly in East Denver. But excited to kind of talk. And Beefy's definitely been a big part of our growth, I think, on our Arbitrum. So we appreciate you guys very much. Much love.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. We are definitely here and excited to spread the love with you. So, Tenz, give me the summary, the light version. What is Silo, and what is Silo doing that is different from other lending and borrowing protocols?
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, at Silo, we're taking essentially a different architectural approach to lending. So where traditional kind of DeFi lending protocols put all of the assets in one pool and they can either cross borrow or have some sort of caps between each other, at Silo, rather than there being kind of one large pool that rehypothecates between different assets, we create one pool for every asset, or one silo, And so the general idea is you don't have as much segregation of liquidity because you're pairing everything with the same different things, which we call the bridge assets. But you're still maintaining the core level of security at the token level, right? So if you're lending your USDC to CRV holders, you're just lending them to CRV holders. If you're lending them to BTC holders, just to BTC holders. If that particular token gets exploited, it doesn't affect the other one. And we're very excited to be rolling out our V2 as well. With that, we're doing a lot of kind of exciting stuff, just kind of all of the culmination of a lot of knowledge for the last year and a half or so that we've been running. But yeah, just to give you like a few, right? Like it's permissionless deployment. Anyone can set up a market. And then like the big kind of selling point out of all the many different features is, I think, hooks, which is the same concept as UniV4, but for lending, which hooks, what they do is they allow you to set custom logic before or after a transfer. And so that can let you do basically a huge number of things. You can create permissioned silos. You can create markets where the interest rate tracks the staking rate. Just a huge open concept that Uniswap really innovated on, and we're excited to take forward as well. But yeah.
Don't you see like everybody's sort of moving to like isolated lending? Isn't like basically that what Compound V3 is now?
Yeah. I mean, everyone seems to. I think it's actually partially probably due to our success. We definitely led in that space, and I can tell you we spoke with the teams that are building in isolated lending before they were building in isolated lending. So certainly we think that we've been an inspiration to a lot of different teams. But we appreciate it. It validates really our thesis. So we get really excited when everyone started kind of going down the same path. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the only like problem with isolated lending that I could see is like sort of like a fragmentation of borrowable assets, which is good on the risk side, right? Because now you're whatever you're as a depositor, you're isolated to that only specific risk of the base asset. But at the same time, it's like if you don't have enough like actual borrowable capital in one of the silos, maybe it's not as attractive or it's more of a riskier asset. Then obviously it's like, the activity of the silo is probably going to be dampened. So I'm sure you guys are sort of managing through that process, and there's a whole lot of strategy involved with how do you like go to market in order to get people to deposit, and what's the risk appetite of things that you want to list on Silo, because you obviously don't want like a dead market as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of we're addressing that in our V2 with vaults, right? So vaults at their core layer, what they do, right, is they basically via rebalancing they allow the liquidity fragmentation to disappear in a sense, just in the markets that they provide liquidity to. But the takeaway from that is, right, if you are a vault depositor, now you have shared risk. But at the core, the markets are still isolated. But that's one way that we're looking to optimize it. But I think that there's a good deal of interesting things that we can do in that sense. And this is something that we're going to keep iterating over. We have kind of these more bizarre ideas for what we're going to do for hooks, because we want to create a library of them before we launch V2 so people can just use them.
Cool.
But I think we'll have some exciting stuff around efficiency, particularly like being able to use idle liquidity in different places is a huge plus of the hooks system. But,
So can I ask you something about vaults for a second? Sorry, Jorge.
No. Go ahead.
I was just curious, like on when you're distributing the asset, are you chasing like lending rates, or are you like trying to figure out where the holes need to be covered?
So our goal is actually with V2 to have other people such as yourselves deploy the vaults. We would provide like we built the basic infrastructure, but we'd ideally like other people to have kind of the strategy running. Although we will have some at launch that will be more tailored to keeping the rates sane, right? Whereas someone might want to design a strategy that's more like aggressive, like I just want to take the highest interest rate, right? But yeah.
So it's pretty much just arbing the other rates.
It's arbing the other rates and also making sure we don't go into like dynamicity. We have a weird interest rate model. That essentially at certain utilizations we put in a time multiplier, and it can make things very complex. But
yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool.
So Tenz, here's the first thing I want to ask you. So, let's say I'm a degenerate, right? I am filthy. I am just in the business of getting as much yield as possible. I am not exactly sure how to manage my risk, okay? And we don't do financial advice here, but I wanted to ask you, for the layman, like myself, Jorge the layman, why is lending and borrowing such an important part in the crypto space? Like, why should I be excited to lend or borrow assets in crypto for the regular average guy who might be watching this and have no idea what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the regular average guy, and I will tell you that I'm a heavy lending user. The major use case is really leverage, but leverage not in the sense of just like, hey, I want 2x exposure to this asset. Yes, you can do that with lending, but also think about like maybe you just have Bitcoin sitting in your wallet that's not being productive in any way. You can either take it to a yield aggregator such as Beefy, right? Or you could also lend against it, right? So you could borrow against your wrap BTC, take out some USDC, which generates higher rates than just wrap BTC usually, and then you could deposit that USDC instead into Beefy, for example, right? And you can create this situation where your borrowing rate is actually lower than the interest you're generating, so you can end up with greater returns on your yield. But yeah,
capital efficiency, Jorge.
Thanks. I Weso, I'm so glad because I was asking you, not the guest. And, I just appreciate your very long and difficult to understand response.
I just needed 2 words. That was it.
I just want leverage. Okay. So, all right. So That's a great point to make, and I'm curious. So, I think another thing that goes on when you're part of a protocol is that there's tons of people that I'm sure get confused with how liquidations work. And I wanted to ask you, what is something that you wish everybody using Silo right now had a strong grasp on?
Yeah, definitely. If you are in a long tail asset and you're borrowing stablecoins against that, you should keep in mind the liquidation fee, especially for long tail assets. It can be incredibly high, right? So if you're borrowing against, wrap stake ETH, yeah, you can get you can get away with like a 5% liquidation fee. But if you are in something like a Woo, for example, that needs a substantially higher margin of profit in order to liquidate large positions, right? So just because of the liquidity that's available in the market. So definitely the liquidation fee is displayed right on the UI, but most people don't tend to look at the extra parameters that are shown there. But keep an eye on the liquidation fee. Don't get liquidated. And if you're going to do some sort of advanced, borrowing strategies, I would maybe consider using something like a contango, where you can set stop losses and take profits before the liquidation, so you can save yourself that trouble should it come to pass. Yeah.
What if you wanted to, let's say, put a whole bunch of your money into a silo and borrow a whole bunch of stable to buy a house?
Yes, you could definitely do that.
Let's say particularly a house in Australia, a very,
like...
very big house in Australia. But go on, Tenz. Answer the question.
Well, as long as you keep your debt okay, then you're fine, right? So
yeah, I mean,
above your ratio.
As long as you keep paying down your debt, and there is liquidity in the market. Well, I mean, I am understanding what you're pointing to. I think the CRV market is an interesting case, just because obviously no one is going to be able to liquidate the positions on Fraxlend plus Silo plus there's not enough liquidity in the market for CRV for that. But really, those markets are built more upon the trust of the CRV community and their founder, right? Mitch does actually have a good track record of paying back his loans.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and paying down interest. And actually, you've seen that in the last month or so. I think he's reduced his loans by 20 million, 30 million, just because of so many people kind of talking about it and being like afraid about it. But really, Mitch is, I think, a good guy in general, and I don't think Mitch would want to put himself in that position either.
No. It was more of a case of like looking at when assets had a higher valuation, or there's more liquidity in the market. So like, let's say you initially set up the market and you have a certain amount of liquidity available, and then the debt gets used, but then the liquidity becomes less and less, right? Or the values of the assets start to decrease. And now you still have maybe this a large amount of debt, but all of a sudden that liquidity that was available in the market is sort of not there anymore, which, Curve had its issue with the exploit vector inside the compiler issue, which sort of eradicated some of the Curve liquidity. And so all of a sudden now this liquidity that was there, that was able to, be utilized by the liquidators, is no longer there. And all of a sudden now these risks are a lot more higher risk than they were before. And so it's interesting how lending protocols sort of have to react to that of like, hey, like now we have this existing debt out there, and all of everything that's was there now, all of the factors have changed. And so I think that's more of the topic. Less about, Mitch and whether or not he's going to pay back his loans. I think that was like more of like the Twitter nonsense that was kind of going on. But it is like a general issue. I mean, like Aave V2 had some major
absolutely
issues with this, right?
Yeah, you've got a great point there. I think the only the cleanest solution I've seen thus far, because this is an unsolved problem, or it might honestly be an unsolvable problem, right? Because you can always, essentially increase, but you can't decrease. And that's just the nature of, utilization going up. But I would think actually that the closest solution is probably something like BAM, right? So because BAM always maintains enough liquidity within itself to liquidate itself, right? So in that sense, it can be done. And you could also do it, right, by limiting the market size with the UniV3 Oracle. But however, you still run into the issue of liquidity can always come down. And we did actually see a huge amount of markets with that issue after last bull run, actually, if you notice, right? So the last bull run came off, and then if you notice, like there was a bunch of kind of just like weird small lending protocols getting exploited here and there. And it was because of they have a weird asset that you had heard about during the bull run, but it's not really, big anymore, listed. And then now it's gotten exploited. But so, I think, I think it's not a problem you can really solve. The best thing you can do is choose the assets you want to be a counterparty to. And that's kind of the thesis of siloing the risk by asset. Man.
Well, at least like with, at Silo, with the isolated lending, it's like limited to the risk of that silo itself.
Yes.
Whereas like, one of the problems with Aave v2 was, it wasn't isolated. So you had a risk in one of the assets and all of a sudden all the assets are at risk. And that, we see the same thing at all of these forked lending protocols who have one bad asset that basically takes down the entire protocol.
So what are the repercussions, after all of this happens? Maybe I'm a little out of the loop here, but did they make any changes, post all this stuff happening, or is this still a potential risk?
Are you talking about like the curve situation?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's still like a major amount of debt, but like as Tenz has been saying, Mick has been paying back like all of the, or paying back at least enough to kind of show that he has a goodwill.
No.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, can someone else suddenly make the same amount of debt on the protocol, potentially? And like,
no, because they've been lowering the borrowable cap. So like a lot of some of these protocols, as it like gets bought back, will like lower the borrowable amount that you can actually go. So you can't like just reinitiate the debt.
Okay, no, I was just curious.
But it becomes like almost like a player versus player type issue where I think. People can start shorting the asset and starting to devalue it to see if they can put the markets at risk. And so now you have other players who are being malicious against that specific market because they see it as an opportunity to, possibly generate profit. So,
basically exactly what Avi did, friends.
It was. What did he say it was?
Highly profitable trading strategy. Yeah.
Highly profitable trading strategy.
I feel so safe in crypto. Oh my gosh.
Oh well, you should
don't excite me too much.
Manhattan, I think, right?
Yeah, but what it does show you is that like people are innovating because we've seen these issues. So at least now we're still. I mean, DeFi is still really young. But like a lot of these iterations, these advances inside lending, have come and because of certain things that have happened, and how do we prevent this from happening in the future, and how do we learn from it? So I'd say that it is everybody's growing. We're all growing, I think, and we're all building it. And I think these things that do happen, though they could, be huge impacts in market loss and people getting hurt, but at the end of the day, it's key learnings that people are taking now and innovating to protect against for the future. So
the market always corrects. The market always corrects 100%. So Tenz, so the next thing I wanted to kind of ask you, I was wondering if you could go into a little bit more depth about V2 for me to understand what exactly is a hook, and what are some of the other changes that are going on in Silo V2.
Yeah. So in Silo V1, essentially you can take token X and pair it with Ethereum and USDC for sake of simplicity, and then everything would be paired with the same things, which we call the bridge asset. In V2, we're throwing away that system, and we're saying you can create any two paired asset pool, and it goes both two asset, and you can make it either go one directional or be two directional pools, and you can create it permissionlessly. So we're working on you being able to actually deploy markets even just from the UI. So users don't have to ask DAO for permission. Just essentially what you do need to ask for permission for is Gauge whitelisting, which is our VE system and our incentive system. But the V2 system itself has the concept of hooks. So as I mentioned, hooks is custom transfer logic before or after transfer. It's more about what it enables than what it technically means, right? So things that we've been looking at would be things like permissioned markets. A lot of institutional type players really like to have maybe, only markets where you can only interact with people that have attestation at, maybe Coinbase or something like that. That can be applied in through hooks. You can do things where, maybe the idle ETH liquidity is put somewhere else while it's not being lent out, creating kind of a base rate, right? Like think about maybe you could have the DAI that is not being borrowed sitting in the DSR staking module, right? And so that we're raising the rates for everyone else, and also creating kind of a minimum borrow rate. A lot of things along those lines. We're also bringing in a new interest rate model. So we've come up with a different model that, depending on how you set the parameters, we can create fixed rate models, we can create dynamic models, we can create regular kinked models like you see on Aave. We can create models with two kinks. If you're familiar with the kink, what it means, it's just basically like a point where the interest rate spikes up a little bit, like the growth rate. And I mean, we've also got deployer revenue. So people who deploy markets can choose to turn on deployer fee revenues. So they will actually, rather than you, for example, building a vault for a specific silo and charging a fee on top of it, will allow the deployers to take a cut of the protocol fee instead, right? So there will be a real advantage to people coming in and launching their own markets. I would say that covers the vast portion of it. We also have a lot of kind of, I would say, neat security features and things like that. So like a dual oracle system where if you you can have two oracles, set one for LT and one for LTV, and you use the lower one for LTV and the higher one for LT, which essentially, it's setting the harsher restriction for each oracle. Because you need the LTV to be the lower of the two, and the liquidation threshold to be the higher of the two. And that's something really Synthetics pioneered, I think, really with their Oracle system a while back. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, two Oracle systems pretty good because obviously we've seen issues with like a single isolated Oracle before.
Yeah.
Like on Avalanche. But so with that was, I guess, my question was going to be when you talk about permission systems or permissioned silos. I'm sorry, permissionless silos. So deploying your own silo. How do you set up the Oracle, or do you guys have requirements around specifying the Oracle, or are you allowing anybody to sort of submit it and they can use just UniV3 TWAPs at any cadence and that'll work?
Yeah, so I mean, the markets are isolated, right? So there's really no additional risk even if someone launches a 100% LTV Pepe market, right? Users can really use whatever Oracle they want. I think we're going to just make it typically so that they accept push-based oracles like Chainlink, right? And usually you can just call I think it's lastest answer or lastest round data on a Chainlink Oracle, and you can just get the price that way. But the majority of all the other Oracle providers have actually created wrapper contracts that imitate Chainlink. And so that we work with all of them basically. And so that allows them to function exactly the same. So yeah, I would you could use any Oracle really you wanted.
So Tenz, I wanted to ask you, all right, here at Beefy, we go to conferences and, sometimes we make good decisions. Sometimes we make bad decisions. Sometimes we see some really weird and wacky stuff. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever seen anything crazy at any of these conferences? And tell us about it if you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say wacky stuff. There's always a lot of people in weird costumes. Sometimes you see some nudists, but I think the probably craziest person I've seen. Yeah, man. Where? I saw it was in Bitcoin Miami. It was they weren't in the conference. They were outside, but they had a sign around their penis or whatever. But I don't know what it said. But I didn't say
Buy my
hi
Bitcoin, or
Wait,
as much as I
you
wanted
didn't
to.
read the penis sign?
would you like to shake my
I
hand?
don't know what they were up
How
to.
big was the sign?
Was it a big
It
sign
was a
or
decent
was it a
size.
small sign?
Well, it was
Was
pretty
it
wide, but I
hanging?
don't know
Was
how
it-
long it really was. That's-
Like, how was it mounted?
I mean, could you see it? Was it like a sign that was like in the round? Like, you had like you couldn't go to the
Like
side
hanging
to,
around his
to
neck.
like you peek a quick look. You know what I mean?
Oh, so it was like
Oh.
a sandwich board or something.
yeah,
Or
it's
was
like
this just
a
like a
little
flat
sign
board?
hanging, like a necklace. Yeah, like hanging from the neck, kind of hands
like a
free.
necklace.
Yeah, like a
What were
little,
they
not like a
advertising?
necklace,
Like
but
an
like
apron?
like a little rope, and like a little sign.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna make a correction here, though. Technically, he's not naked, right?
Well,
He's
I
wearing
mean,
a
I don't.
sign.
I don't really like. I mean, I look away usually, just out of respect. I don't know. But
Is it
I
is it
would hope
respect
maybe-
or you don't want to indulge in the temptation? Like
It's the
Like,
inverse
is
of
there a little bit of
respect.
guilt?
Doesn't
Yeah,
mean
that's
he's saying-
disrespect.
He's
You should
saying,
be
"Look
looking."
at me."
I don't know. Man. I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe he had a sock on or something, but from behind, I didn't think it would look like he was wearing any
what
clothes. so.
what made you feel confident that he had a sock? Like, is it something
No,
you
no,
saw?
I don't know.
Is it
I'm
your
just hoping.
intuition? How did your intuition sense the sock? That's what I really want to know.
Okay, so
Did he
you're at
make
this-
you? Did
this
he make you
Bitcoin
feel
Miami-
overdressed for this event?
Well, it's Miami. It's
Oh,
CBC. That's
well-
pretty much what everybody's wearing.
Yeah,
I guess
mean,
they sold
I don't know.
the Maxi sold their clothing for Bitcoin. That was the message here. The only thing worth having is Bitcoin.
Yeah, and
But
he
what
left
did
his
it say
wallet
on
in
the
his pants,
sign?
yeah.
What did it say on the sign?
No, I really don't know what it said on the sign. It was just a white sign. It was like written on with like Sharpie or something, so it was hard to read. I really didn't want to look, but he was an older gentleman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this wasn't a big brawny, Floridian. But anyway,
I mean,
yeah.
technically, it is Florida, so this is just completely normal in Florida.
Yeah, but
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm suspect. I'm suspect. We, in Florida, we're
Jorge.
crazy. We're crazy, but when in Florida, there's a lot of good-looking people. I'm gonna have to say that this person's probably not from Florida, because Tenz wasn't even. Tenz didn't even want to look.
Are you saying
Tenz
there's
didn't even
only
want to
good-looking
look.
people in Florida? I'd like to.
And at
dispute
Bitcoin
this.
Miami, come on, that person should be damn fine if they're from Miami. Have you even been to Miami for like 20 minutes? You look.
Well, it's a conference.
Oh man, I love Miami. I've
See,
been
look.
all my life to Miami. But yeah.
I love Miami too. I don't know if I could live there, but I do love Miami. Yes. So, all right. So you saw the Nudist. All right. So that's something. What else have
that
you
wasn't
seen?
even the crazy part, honestly. That was just kind of normal.
This gets deeper. This gets deeper.
I mean-
all right.
Well, I mean, I was just walking around and I just happened to see what's his face, BitConnect, Carlos, our man. He was I don't know what he was doing. I think it was called Bitcoin Latinum now what he was working on, but yeah, I just went up to him and I just really wanted a picture, and I came up to him and I was like, hey, like, I really loved your speech, because I saw him come off, but I didn't actually listen to the speech. and then I'm like, can I take a picture? And then he was like, yeah, but what was your favorite part of my speech, man? And I was like, oh, shit, because I had not listened. And then I just looked at him and I said, BitConnect. And then, yeah. But then he took a picture with me, so graceful man. But yeah.
Actually, I have a story with him too. I met him at Decentral Miami. Just so happens it was a year prior to when I went to Bitcoin Miami.
Am I thinking of Decentral? Might have been Decentral. I go to a lot of them, but yeah. I think I might have. He was with a bunch of girls, yeah, and he had like the Bitcoin Latinum shirts and stuff.
I remember Bitcoin Latinum was there. So
Yeah.
We probably have been following each other at different conferences, just the universe pulling us closer and closer and closer
I
together.
think Jorge was the naked guy.
No. Hey, you would
That
have looked
seems-
at me. If it was me, you would
I
have
don't
been
know,
like,
dude. I
That
didn't look too
seems
close,
legit.
but
Like
I could have.
it probably was.
Tenz,
That's what it
Tenz's
sounds
girlfriend is pulling him to the side, like, stop looking. And he's just like, I can't help it. Like, if it was me, Look. I don't know what my BMI is.
You just know an awful lot about it, Jorge.
I'm probably a good-looking fat man. Okay, I'm a good-looking fat guy.
All right.
Yeah, I like to think so, too.
Hold on. If you were in Miami, all right, at one of these crypto events, and you were naked, and you had to wear a sign, what would the sign say?
Wow, this
is a question to the panel.
I mean,
Everyone's
if
gotta
I
answer
could
this
go
one.
back and tell myself who is being nude with the sign, it would be warning everyone about Luna, because at that conference, everybody, I swear, I'm not going to drop names. I met a few big names in the industry at the time, and some big YouTubers and personalities, and so many of them were like, Do Kwon's a genius, and all this, and it's, there's a lot to discuss there.
So no, stop, Jorge.
So wait,
naked sign moment. You're gonna just say, don't invest in Luna.
That's stupid. It should say, you're going down like Luna and have an arrow pointing.
Might would just say McAfee didn't kill himself.
No, but see, that only works.
there you go.
The
That's a
sign,
good
the
one.
sign would have to be at my chest, right?
The truth is
because you're
revealed.
saying it's gonna go down like Luna. Like, we got to think of marketing here. Okay, it's going down. We're moving the viewer's eye down, right? Is that kind of the objective here? That's gonna go down like Luna, or is it like pointing at the floor? Like it's gonna go down to the floor? All right, maybe I'm over.
There's a lot of penis talk going on. All right.
We've gotten off track.
We've definitely to the Silo community. I don't know how we got here, but we did.
I got a question for you. So, what it like? There was BitConnect, obviously, is quite a few years ago. Luna, FTX, Three Arrows. What's that of this cycle?
Now,
Ooh,
why are you still in
great
crypto?
question.
That's the question.
Great
like,
question.
we've had all of that, but like what is that now? Like of this cycle, I can't think off the top of my head what that would be.
Oh man. Oh well. I mean, it's hard because. Well, I mean, honestly, I can't really insult anyone like that, but I think there are some very large projects out there that, I maybe just need to do more research on, though. Honestly, like just to read up on them and see on the feasibility and look at the statistics behind it. But it just seems like a certain ideas that maybe are a little close to
Maybe
it. But
ones
yeah.
that are playing sort of like half centralization, half decentralization.
Maybe something like yeah, no, Pepe to the moon.
I mean, so that is such a good question, because we all want to know. I feel like crypto feels sometimes like hot potato. You know what I mean? When I invested in Luna, and I swear to God, and I swear by it,
talking about?
I remember when that thing was
You were
like
naked when you were doing it, right?
it was
How could you,
100.
Jorge?
He's so obsessed with Luna. Like we haven't even
Just
talked about
never
Luna for
end.
5
Every
minutes.
episode.
And he's like,
No,
he's
but I
still
mean,
talking about it.
we want to know what the next big thing to fall is. I feel like, I'm pretty amazed
How about
that nothing
people sending billions of dollars to like a 3-person multi-sig that could be one person. Like that to me is becoming more and more common. So like I think was it 0x not gonna make it
XBT
was posting a thing basically like saying, hey, when do we go to like we're just gonna send billions of dollars to like a 3-person multi-sig, and now that's the thing.
Wow.
Because that's like worse than what we had before DeFi. Now we have
Yeah, but,
centralization
like,
around like
yeah.
3 people.
So if that collapses, it
Or
ain't taking
3
the rest
people-
of us down.
3 people.
'Cause
But
who
no,
cares?
that's like you're talking about like $1 billion of assets that can be completely lost.
We all know these people are idiots, right? Like
Yeah,
Like they're
or maybe they know something that we
it's
don't.
not like regular people are utilizing these systems, right? This isn't
Yes,
like
they are.
Well, I mean, okay, FT. Well, I won't. I'll just.
Regular
Wait,
people
wait,
get hurt on
what-
this stuff
what-
all of the time.
I'm sorry.
All of
What
the time.
regular? Do you know a regular person that's sending?
I know regular.
I don't know any
multi-sigs?
regular people.
I know a regular
Yeah.
person.
Yes,
Perfectly
because
normal.
they
I
don't know
signed
they're
up my
doing
girlfriend for
Oh,
FTX.
they're an idiot.
Well, there you
okay.
go. But that wasn't a
All right.
multi-sig. But like, yeah, no. But people
Yeah,
like
close
Steve,
enough.
points. I got points now. So I'm
Oh,
just
don't
gonna
bring that up.
YOLO, I'm gonna YOLO
No.
all my funds into whatever, and I don't
We did
care what the
points last
security
episode.
is.
What's the okay? You know which one kind of strikes me as sketchy? What's that? Is it Blast? Blast for me.
What do you think I'm talking about?
Which one?
Blast.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about. I ruined this for the audience in case we're playing this guessing game. All right, but I'm with. I guess there's two people on this chat now are saying Blast.
The thing is like, okay, the problem with Blast isn't whether or not it actually becomes a successful thing and it moves to more decentralized organization. It's the precedent it's set that said, hey, it's totally cool to go just send 3 people all of my money and billions of dollars, and it trusts that they're going to come through with whatever they say they are.
Yeah.
Like that's
Jorge.
a really bad precedent.
Jorge, can you link my multi-sig in the show notes, please?
Yeah,
Are you accepting?
I'm
Will you
accepting all crypto. I'm giving surf points for my new
Surf
project.
points.
Surf points.
Non-redeemable
You in?
for anything, right? Like
Well, you know, Surf was actually one of the first.
I'm not
farms.
telling. I'm not telling. I'm not. If you collect
Surf?
enough.
Yeah, that
You
was
might
the name
get-
of one of my first ever farms. Surf.
Wait.
Surf
wait,
farm.
Oh, what? It was a thing.
Where was it on?
It was just called Surf. It was on Ethereum. It was way. It was at wow. It was like in the beginning of the
Oh
bull-
my god,
first bull.
dude. How rich are you? This dude farmed on
It's
Ethereum.
probably a rug. I never even heard of it.
I did well. No, it did decently. I mean, it was just a farm coin. Honestly, I was at that point just throwing at everything I could in that bull run. But yeah,
Yeah, you just made money just doing that, right? Like just like, just,
dude, it was
comes
like something's coming out in 2 hours. Someone just told me about. Like, put some ETH in and it doubles. And little did we know, we were probably taking all of the ETH from Sam Bankman.
probably.
Wow.
I
Well,
was-
they were the Ponzi Hoover the whole time. That's what all they were doing.
there was a time when you could, I think on BSC's Explorer when it first like sort of like launched, you could like look at the new contracts that were deployed. And I think you could still do that on Etherscan, but if you search through the new contracts, you could find like a token or a farm that was launching, and then you could just like YOLO your money into it, thinking like possibly you're gonna like get like $1 million for a set, and people are gonna like,
Yeah,
whatever,
dude.
jump into it, and you could make a ton of money right away. But obviously get rugged most of the time. But
all right.
Yeah.
Tenz, I got another question
Yes.
for you. Speaking of rugs, and actually, true story, when Weso and I were at ETH Denver, I recall that our Airbnb happened to be close to like a furniture store, and it kept saying on the top rug sale. And I just kept thinking like, oh, I really hope
we had to
there's
drive
no
past that
rugs.
every single day to the conference.
And we would tell people joking around, there's a rug sale going.
How do you guys not send me a picture of this?
I should have
That's
sent.
Jorge's job.
You're literally the fucking worst. I can't stand it.
Oh my god! Deep down inside, TBC loves me. I know. It's this deep passion that he just doesn't want to let out on screen.
Yeah, I want to see you wearing a sign. You know what I'm saying?
But I got distracted. My question for you, Tenz, is: you've been in the industry a long time. What has been the worst rug pull you've been through? And I'll give you mine after you tell yours.
Are you holding this comb?
I'm holding a comb
Just
because you know what?
Why?
Because if I get nude with a sign, I want my hair to look nice, okay?
There you
Because
go.
it'll at least be the only thing on
is
me.
it like is this like your fidget toy? Like what do you?
It is a bit of a fidget toy. Anyways, goddamn it, Tenz, tell me about your your rug pull experience.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I've been in a couple protocols that have been exploited. As far as rugs, I've only been in one, and which is actually surprising because I threw money in a bunch of different, just like literally like the Nansen research, the old Nansen Alpha Discord. They used to have these crazy lists that they'd make, and I'd just go through and we'd put a little bit in everything, kind of just seeing what's up. But sorry, got kind of lost track of thought. But it was called Pump Farm. If you know, I mean, what can you do? And it was doing, 300%, 300,000% APR. You know, it was one of those, and we were just rolling dice at that point. But yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
Dude.
We pulled all liquidity basically. Just they were single asset deposits, stake vaults. They had a permission vault, and they just drained the liquidity. But I only lost like 1.3K. Like it was literally like.
I can imagine like when crypto just started, going to your parents and they're like, "Son, tell us about the way you've been making all this money," and you go, "Dad, I made an educated financial decision on Pump Farm."
Do you think Pump Farm is what the sign on the naked guy said?
Who knows?
It definitely was some like meme coin, shitcoin thing that was like he was trying to advertise at the time, because that's what he put on there.
I've talked to some Uber drivers that have been hurt, man. A lot of like them that like aped into meme coins, and they tell me like I will never like buy Shiba Inu again. And then like they get so, but I tell them like, hey, if you ever want to look at it, I try to have the combos with them. But yeah,
there's always another animal coin.
Yeah, since you shared yours, the worst. I got rugged twice, and I forgot the name of the second project. It was something like you put some money in, you get a node, the node pays you out a certain amount of tokens, and I can't remember the name.
Oh, okay.
But the one that really scarred me the most was Time Wonderland, and looking back at it, I was like, what a stupid.
They didn't rug.
I made a killing on Time Wonderland. It was actually
Tenz,
one of my best.
You animal. God.
And I was forced to sell. This is actually a great story, but it's towards the end of like my I was making a ton of money during this bull run. I started the bull run with less than $1,000. I put maybe $600-700, and I ended buying a house. And the house forced me to sell the time because I had to liquidate assets to buy the place and put down the payment. So
God bless you. I wish I was as good as you, man. Jeez. But
some of them you just got to get in and get lucky. That's how it went. And if it's in the bull market, it's possible because there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, dude.
Like Pump Fund.
Pump Farm, yeah.
At Weso,
Pump Farm. Pump Down Fund's an actual thing.
You said something very interesting that I was hoping you could elaborate on. You said time did not rug. How about you elaborate on that for the audience, or at least for the layman?
Yeah, it still exists.
Yeah, I mean, it still exists.
How's it doing?
No, it's still got hundreds of millions.
I mean, it's not like,
It's bigger than Olympus.
Yeah, you better check your bag.
It's bigger
Jorge.
than Olympus?
Yeah, they have 10 or 100 million managed. I mean, Olympus is also shrank because of the inverse bonds, right? So people can technically exit, but yeah.
So time.
Time wasn't the Time Wonderland issue the same sort of thing?
Time is Vesta now,
anyways. Yeah, but what it was like what's his name?
Daniel Sesta.
Daniele was borrowing against his position, and then became into way so much that it was unliquidatable, which was the issue.
I mean,
that was for spell. This was the whole thing with time dissolving was mostly about Sifu, right?
Yeah. But he's still the.
Well, as I understand
it was a whole big to do, but then he ended up just being the guy anyway.
What?
Or did he actually leave?
Sifu's still a part of it. I mean, we talk with Sifu, and he's an active member also of our community as well. But yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying he there was a huge to do about it, and which kind of deflated the project, and then everything. But he still stayed, and everything was fine. Yeah.
It was just everything related to Quadriga, right? Just him being related to that, and then having kind of some sketchier background, right? But it was basically what killed it was just popularity. It wasn't really anything, and then I think it just kind of died out also with Mim kind of breaking down. Oh, that's kind of what you're referencing, I think, right? I think maybe he had a spell loan that made Mim insolvent, and then Wonderland had $100 million in Mim or something crazy at that moment.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was one of the catalysts. And then people were like, that's how they were saying it was a rug, because Daniele was rugging via like borrowing against spell or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, what I remember is that the token was extremely inflationary, and that's what brought the token price down over time, if I'm not mistaken, when I was using Time
Wow.
Wonderland.
Sounds like a lot of tokens, Jorge.
Yeah. It was 60,000%. I'm a genius investing in the internet. The future of money is here. 60,000% on Time Wonderland. That's how I felt.
It's nothing more than an index fund, except you bought it for a 300% premium.
Yep. Never mind,
But
ladies and gentlemen. I didn't get rugged. I bought it the wrong time. There you go.
Exactly.
Did you do your own research on it?
Yes. And I remember that when I was at okay, I'm probably going to blur this guy's name out, or maybe I won't. We'll see. Whatever TBC decides. But I remember I overheard Bitboy at the Central Miami saying like,
why do you have to blur him out?
like
I thought he blurred himself out.
I guess he blurred himself out.
He blurred himself out with white lines.
All right. Well, as Bill O'Reilly said, we're doing
Problems.
it live. But I remember, I think I overheard him at the Central Miami, or maybe it was a video where he's like, it's like, Time Wonderland is genius. And I felt like he bought the top. Yeah.
Sounds like a Bitboy thing.
I
Did you
didn't
ever
buy
buy,
the top, but I remember when he started talking about it, I felt like it was the top.
And that's when you decided to buy
No,
it?
I bought before that. I bought because I was a filthy, dirty degenerate, and I discovered Ohm and then all the Ohm forks, and that's why I bought it.
Did he ever buy all of that Ben liquidity?
Oh, what
Bitboy?
happened with that? Actually, now I gotta Google that. Bencoin. What happened to Bencoin? Da-da-da-da. What happened to Bencoin? Google will tell me.
I can tell you when he started getting into the Ben DAO, the Bens were not very happy. He was not a welcome Ben to the Ben DAO.
He was unbencome.
Yes.
He has been
Yeah, he was-
unbend.
Yeah, I would like to.
That he had an
I would like to
unbendable
fit in with
wheel.
the Ben. I'm trying, Tenz. I'm trying with the Ben puns, and I can't think of one right
Well,
now.
it looks like they haven't posted anything since August 2023.
Oh no, there was like him, and then what was the other really annoying Ben Twitter guy?
His name was
just
Ben.
creating all of these rugs. Yeah, he was Ben too, right?
It was
Do
Ben.eth,
you know who
yeah.
I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Ben.eth,
Ben.
yeah, that guy. And he was just like creating all these rug coins and then like, pumping them because of off of Bitboy's back or whatever.
Well, he was just saying, send me money to this address, and
Yeah.
I'll pump a coin. I'll airdrop you a coin.
We were talking about multi-sig. People were sending like 100 ETH to like some guy's address on Twitter that they have no idea, so that he could give them a coin that he's just going to dump anyway. So now he's got the ETH and he's going to dump on you. So it's like, I don't know. There's still one of those guys going on right now.
What, the NFT crowd?
No, yeah, I think it was like that they converted into like now just send me ETH and
Pepe?
I'll.
Oh,
No, it's-
Puff the Magic Dragon.
No, there was another one.
Who lives
Mantle.
down by the sea.
What the hell is going on?
No, I'll think.
I'm talking about the one that lives on the streets.
Okay.
You right there, Jorge?
I'm just fighting for my life right here.
You're so brave.
Dude, thank you.
I got rugged once.
Tell us about your rug, Weso.
This week?
I got liquidated this week, not rugged.
Okay.
I rugged myself.
A self-rugging.
On Silo?
No.
Oh.
Just 50x perpetuals.
See, Tenz is just disappointed that he couldn't be the one to, take your sweet
I was gonna say
liquidity.
thank you. No.
You know
No,
what?
we-
Next time I get
we don't take
liquidated, I'll get
liquidations, but-
liquidated on Silo.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank
do
you,
it.
Will.
Do it for the team.
I'll appreciate not getting your liquidation. Thank you.
I'll bring my liquidation business to Silo.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I
man.
lose money on Silo because I'm a man of class.
There you go.
As long as I can get points, I'm just like racking up my liquidation points.
There you go. But where did you get rugged? Or as the show Baby Reindeer would be like, who hurt you, Weso? Who hurt you?
No, before I was involved in Beefy, I actually didn't really understand a whole lot of the risks. Beefy's what sort of got me and taught me all of the risks that are going on in DeFi. I was still like learning the ropes. And I remember like it was when all of the food coins were going on at BSC. And I saw one pop up that was called like ice cream shop. And I'm like, oh, look at this, like, 10 million % interest. I'm like, putting a whole bunch of money in there, and it's like go to like the Telegram, and the Telegram is just like a cesspool of like just nonsense. Like people just like posting like weird ass stickers and like go to the moon and pump, and probably everybody's trying to scam one another in the Telegram chat. So now are you just like gonna get scammed off of the farm or whatever you're doing, but you're also gonna get scammed in Telegram, so you're gonna get like double scammed.
Wow.
Right?
It's true. Everyone in the pump and dump scheme knows that it's a pump and dump. They're all trying to scam each other.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, if you need support, I'll just message you." And it's like, "Okay, wait. So you're trying to scam me multiple times here." So then it was like I was like, "Okay, cool." I was like I was earning all of like this, I don't know, ice cream or whatever the hell like I was supposed to be earning, scoops or whatever it was called. And I'm like selling it, so I'm making like a few $100. I'm like, dude, this is like free every day, like every hour. I'm like making $100 here, $100 there. It's like free money. Just keep reinvesting into it. then the one morning I get on and the website's just gone.
No.
like what the hell? Did I go to Telegram group? Just deleted. I'm like,
Dang.
Okay, well, and they got to check like the actual contracts, and just all the money is like completely gone from the contracts.
Wow.
And that was like the first time I really got rugged. I was like, it wasn't for much, but because I didn't really have much, but still memorable. Ice cream scoops or whatever the hell it was called. Those still exist today, though. But Beefy makes sure that you're not involved in those. That's part of our security checks.
That's right. We here at Beefy, we do it right. If you don't believe me, look at Weso's face right now. That is the face of confidence. Brilliance.
I feel like though
Dior.
it's like part of like really being in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to get rugged, right? Like I feel like it's like an initiation.
At least exploited.
Yeah, some sort of traumatic loss where your heart palpitates a little bit, and you feel like a little bit of sweat, and you go downstairs, and your whole family's there, and they're looking at you in disappointment, even though they have no idea what just happened.
Right.
And you can't say anything. You're just like, yes, I'm the stupid one.
I mean, definitely. I will say after my first cycle, I feel like I've done much better. Like I've taken profits here and there, and right now I'm kind of enjoying this dip.
Wait, what was your first cycle?
The last one.
What's your okay.
And I did a lot of that, like going into random protocols, getting all the super high yield tokens, getting into like lending and borrowing, all the different derivative products, and like all this other stuff. And I feel like once you have been punched in the face, you know how to punch back.
When I had like only $1,000 into DeFi, and I first found out about Ethereum, and I like learned about lending, I thought like it was super cool, and so I go and I take my ETH and I deposit like $100 into Aave, so I can earn some interest, only to realize that in order for me to withdraw, it's going to cost me $140 in ETH. So then it was just like stuck forever, perpetually. Like now I can't. I'm going to pay $40 to get my $100 back, so I'm going to lose $40.
Look,
like
Weso,
even to just get my money.
Ethereum is for normal people, like Larry Fink.
I actually
He
think
is
it's
a
probably
very,
still stuck there. I gotta
very
go
normal guy, Larry Fink. He goes and walks his dog like everyone else.
So it was back when ETH was like I don't know, $1,000 or $800 or $700, something like that. So I kept watching. It was like before like the cycle really took off, and I kept watching it, hoping that the appreciation of ETH would go up enough that it would be like slightly profitable for me to withdraw the ETH, but I was still gonna make like pennies off of what I deposited. Also, I can earn like 7% interest on like $100. So I can't be the only person who's done that though.
Yeah, no, I definitely did that as well. I have the $30 in a wallet deposited permanently, and I haven't need to do.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. But I probably earned like at this point like 0.02 of an Ave or something.
Well, you
That
know,
was guilt.
one day the fees will come down, and then you will be free once more.
It's been like a little bit lower lately. I think it was like 4 the other day.
Do you think there's ever going to be a universe where Ethereum's general cost is gonna come down, like fee cost?
Yeah, when everything goes to 0.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel so confident. I feel so confident. Thank you, Weso. And I'm sure the audience will really appreciate
You
that.
asked.
All right, now. So,
well, eventually the sun will explode and we'll all go to 0. So, okay.
At the end of the day, I think all this stuff, whether it's watches, crypto, gold, houses,
Comb knives.
isn't it all an allegory of the odd nature that human beings are willing to ascribe value to things when in reality it like we're all gonna die anyways? I don't know. Maybe
That's very Nietzsche of you. Yeah.
Hey, but it means that there's a lot of time to have fun.
Yeah, but I'm not dying now.
Yeah, that's true. Some people have fun.
So you can't have fun?
Yeah, of course you can
moment?
have fun. Of course you can have fun. But before I lose track,
You need to go to therapy, Jorge.
I do. Thank you very much.
Get yourself a good comb.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Go-
this right
and
here.
a nice sandwich board.
This is a quality product right here. Look at this. Look at how perfect this hair is.
Go to
Gorgeous.
some therapy. Meditate a little bit.
But hey, I gotta ask you. Look, we forgot that this entire podcast was gonna be about Silo and its amazing lending and borrowing product, changing the lives of individual crypto users all over the world. My man, Tenz, I gotta ask you, before we close this out, what is some amazing upcoming things that you want people to know about Silo?
I think the V2.
Oof,
Weso,
yeah,
what are
definitely.
you doing answering this?
Because you've asked this question like twice already, Jorge. Just
Fine,
asking
all
it
right,
again.
fine. Different question. You're absolutely right. How's about this? Tenz, in this passionate moment between the four of us, what is something
Burning.
you want to tell the beautiful and interesting viewers of the show?
I think, I just really appreciate everyone from the Beefy team. You guys have been wonderful to work with. I will say, Weso, you are very, very quick on getting those vaults up for us. A lot of teams really I would say 99% of teams don't have even close to the quality of response time and reactiveness that you guys do. So I highly appreciate that. And I will give you some other updates besides the V2 that I think I can reveal. They're not really private as much as not talked about that much right now, but the bridge STIP did pass. So if people are not familiar with the Arbitrum STIP program, we were a part of it, received 1 million ARB. The bridge STIP was just passed, which is an extension of it, which means we'll be receiving our addendum, a specified amount, which is 500,000 ARB, which will be distributed down to everyone of you
That
guys.
is
So
super exciting.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, and also, and on another note, we're launching on Optimism fairly soon as well, and we have a grant proposal up there. Yes, sir.
I love all of this. I love Silo.
Oh, we got
This is
so
gonna be
much work
great.
to do. We got so much work
Yeah.
to do.
And it's a hefty grant as well from Optimism as well. So appreciation there. So
Congrats.
Let's go. I'm so excited, Tenz.
Awesome, dude.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah. The grant funding's fun. This is gonna be a fun time. There's so many money Legos going on right now.
It's great. It's great. I've been having a great time talking with all the chains. Honestly, it's exciting to see them all approaching you and being like, hey, like, how can we get you on? And finally kind of putting the batteries on. You can tell that everyone's starting kind of their growth strategies up. So it's exciting to see.
So I just wanted to show you how the money Legos. It's kind of cool. So let me describe the Silo Beefy money Legos that are going on. There's ETH, which is staked into Eigen layer via a risk staking protocol, which is then staked into bridged over to Arbitrum, or maybe on ETH, and then it's put into Pendle, and then you take the Pendle tokens, and you can come to Silo and put them in the market, and then you could you could borrow ETH, and you can come in and you can use your ETH in wherever you want, or now that market's formed, which is already like 5 layers deep, you can take your money, your ETH, put it into the market, earn interest via Beefy, which we compound everything. Then people actually build on top of our Silo markets and utilize those for like different use cases, whether or not it's like stripping the coupons and being fixed yield, or doing other cool cross-chain stuff that they're starting to build out now with the single asset vaults. So there's like, with Silo and us and the composability factor, there's like 7 or 8 different protocols all interacting with each other, all to build these, cool, unique things and taking advantage of yield sources, all over the place, even cross-chain.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just there's multiple angles there too, right? Like I think I find it funny that when I came actually first to like ask you guys for vault to kind of talk about vault related stuff, I looked and I was like, oh, look, there's already technically a Silo vault here. Because actually there is a Pendle vault where you deposit ETH into, and then they deposit the ETH into the restaking market, and then that gets placed into Equilibria, and then Equilibria gets compounded by Beefy. And I was like, oh, look, we're technically already in here.
There's like so much spider web intertwining. It's ridiculous. It's the when people talk about composability, like this is exactly what they mean, because there's so many different protocols working together to deliver yield in different ways. And the reason it works is because there's a preference on how people want their yield. In Pendle, you can kind of get like this, I guess, Pendle's like you get your fixed version of yield, right?
It works the same way that a 0 coupon bond works. So it's like you buying 1 ETH at the price of 0.9 ETH and maturing at a certain date.
Yeah. Right. So, some people like that, but then you're able, because, that's composable in itself, you're able to then utilize that in a variety of different ways. The restaking thing, which is a huge craze, is now essentially getting yield plus points. And now I think you're earning points also in Silo vaults, which, you're earning points on Beefy in a lot of different ways. So it's really fun right now. The money Lego game is really fun, and to see it like expanding over to Optimism is going to be so much fun as well.
Yeah, absolutely excited for it, guys. And I'll speak to you guys about it after, but we have a couple other people that I think are coming onto Optimism that are pretty exciting. So I think we can do some cool stuff there. Yeah,
cool,
awesome. Well, hey, Tenz, thank you so much for coming on. We love having you. We look forward to having you again. Thank you for all this information about Silo and that beautiful, intimate story about the random man and the sign. Where is he? Where did he go?
That time you saw Jorge in Miami.
Maybe it was me. Who knows? Maybe I just made this full circle. Apparently he's been in Bitcoin Miami and Decentral Miami. Who knows?
Jorge's just wearing his sign, combing his hair
with my By Time Wonderland
comb.
Alrighty, cheers, Tenz.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks,
so much
Tenz.
for having me, guys.
And
thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with your friends and family who are just so eager to learn more about Beefy, Silo, DeFi, crypto, and so much more. Cheers.